All right, so I'm going to continue on my discussion in the Troll series. Today's episode is Troll Series 2.0. We're going to move on a little bit, continue to describe what the trolls are in our lives. Um, I think what this exercise is probably subconsciously, as I was writing out the list of trolls, I was writing down bad characteristics of my behavior that applied because I'm finding that I'm associated with almost all of the roles, the trolls that I've identified. And so maybe in a way, um, developing this list was a way for me to identify my shortcomings and how I'm treating other people. And in that, how I'm treating myself. So I think the troll series has become some sort of reflection of the behavior I've been displaying outwardly. And I'm gonna get to that part, but I just wanted to throw that in there because if you identify with any of these trolls that I'm mentioning, and what I mean is, if you're honest and you say, okay, well, I'm a Debbie Downer, I'm the depressed one, I'm just the asshole in the room sometimes, then you might have need to change some things. You might come to the conclusion you don't want to, but you have to ask yourself if your behavior is adding or subtracting from the environment. Because if your behavior is a negative, then you can only deduce that it's an overall negative, not just for the room, not just for you, but overall society. Because now you're spreading that malcontent. You're the source of somebody else's. I use the word misery. I think that's maybe too powerful a word, but you're acting as an irritant. And we, my contention here is that we just need to stop. If we stop and reflect for a bit, identify what our flaws are in a systematic way, for example, using the troll analogy, so we can really parse out those pieces of our personality that are acting out and lashing out for some reason they need to be dealt with. Then you write out the list of your the roles that you play, and this way you can address the behavior. At least that's what I think I'm learning here. So let's move on. So the first thing I want to talk about today is our exemptions. So they're exemptions. They're not everything is absolute. Who would be exempt from the troll? They act like a troll, they walk like a troll, but they're not a troll, right? It walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck, right? It could be a platypus, So sometimes you have odd things in our lives that we encounter, and it's counterintuitive. And for example, the comedian. So the comedian serves as the social mouthpiece for controversial subjects because generally they're allowed to function with no filter, and that allows for the breaking or the crossing of boundaries that apply to most of polite society, and so they serve as the social critic. The only bad part about that is that not everybody is a good comedian. I mean, I guess you have the people who are charismatic who can rise to that level and perform and captivate an audience. But are they operating in good faith? Remember, if you're ever not operating in good faith as you're trying to make influence or parse an idea, then you're a troll by definition. So the simple fact that you operate as a comedian as your profession doesn't mean you're not a troll. You have to meet certain criteria, and the primary criteria for not being a troll is operating in good faith at all times. But anyway, so who are our good faith comedians? At least in Juan's opinion. All this is subjective, so you can pick your poison. But who do I think is a comedian operating in good faith? You could take people like Joe Rogan. I know some people don't like him. I think if you don't like him, you probably haven't listened to him. And how can you not like something you don't know about? Again, trolling behavior. Who else is probably operating in good faith? I like Chris Rock. Of Cat Williams. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. There's been a lot of controversy about some of the things that he said. However, everything seems to be checking out. So I don't know about that one, but he is a highly controversial public figure because of the things he says, and rightfully so. So we need some of these trolls in our, or not trolls, some of these comedians in our lives who have a lot of the same characteristics as a troll, but really aren't trolls. They're trying to do something with the information, even if it's out of bounds or out of scope of what the ways we're accustomed to seeing it, hearing it, etc., or even thinking about it in our own lives. The comedians, I think, have a unique perspective and way of delivering that actually could open up perspectives in your mind, even if they've held a different belief for a long, long time. They're, I think it's because we're more receptive to the comedian. That's just Juan's opinion, but that's where we are. What are other exceptions to the troll rules? Legitimate news sources. Legitimate. Remember, anything, almost anybody can be an exception. It just depends on the intent. It's always about the intent. If the comedian and the news anchor has good intent, as informed as possibly can be, and is providing either just the news, the raw facts, data of the thing, or some news outlets, and I think rightfully so, have an opinion piece. As long as the opinion piece is factually sound, is presenting the ideas in a balanced manner, which is also subjective. That's the problem, is all these things are subjective. But I think we can all start to tease out whether somebody is or is not acting on good or bad faith, because in the short term, even, you're going to be able to pluck out the patterns that they display and whether or not they favor one side or the other of any subject. And there's such a thing as a letter to the editor to challenge their perspective. And we used to have this back and forth. And sometimes the editors would say, holy shit, I got this letter from Jane. I'm going to debate her on this, her idea, and push back on her pushback. And then we learn and grow. And eventually we discover either that the opinion piece is wrong or that the citizen is wrong. And therefore we can get better information on what guides our ideas and our behaviors, because we have a unique perspective to apply to all these things. But if the people around us aren't acting in good faith, they're being a comedic troll or a news anchor troll, it makes it hard for us to operate as individuals. And therefore, how the fuck are we ever going to come together and behave well as a society? How do I reach out to my left and right, talk to my brother and sister, and be in congruent thought, dealing with the facts, at least to the best of our ability? It makes it harder to do. But legitimate news sources, there's such a thing. Which ones are they? I ain't gonna lie. It's hard to fucking trust anything you read these days. I don't know. The jury's out on that. All right. Legitimate pundits. You know, I think when it comes to deep thought and opinion, a lot of people are just too caught up in their lives to fucking philosophize about anything. You can't just sit and meditate for half an hour on the geopolitical issues that we face, or the financial crisis the country might be in, or our political, the election, right? It's like, okay, we got these two choices. Let me, sorry. Let me investigate the facts. And that's why it's funny. It's like, there are no facts related to these guys. Each side is pushing an idea that they're quality candidates, they're representation of our country, they're the model citizen, and it's contrary to the facts. But anyway, I just think that's hilarious. But anyway, most Americans, most people on the planet don't have fucking time to sit and philosophize about that shit. Matter of fact, most people don't. That's not their bailiwick. They want to concentrate on focus on, interior decorating, or go walking 5 miles to get that water, depending on what part of the world you live in. You want to focus on your job. If you're a lawyer, if you're a mechanic, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, you have fucking time to keep track of all this fucking shit. So just like our comedians, some of our political, any type of pundit, they aggregate the information. Hopefully they're again operating in good faith, developing the facts of the stories, studying both, again, in balance, both sides of the subject, Of course, pundits tend to have more of a bias simply because they dive deeper and maybe they get steered, and maybe that's a natural byproduct of being a pundit and that deeply informed. Maybe you have a better insight of what the right answer might be. Anyway, so as long as they're operating in good faith, our political pundits can provide us with, a unique perspective, a better perspective on any idea. And the ones I'll name, you don't have to subscribe to them. I'm not endorsing. I'm just saying they're highly controversial because of their position, including in their own realm. So if you're controversial in your own realm, it means maybe you're telling the truth, right? You're more balanced than others. So I'll mention too, Bill Maher. Of course, he's more like a left-leaning comedian, political commentator, a pundit. Same thing with the Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is not a comedian. He's more of a serious guy, but he's more like a right-wing, deep thinker, very spiritual. He's Jewish. He makes no, he doesn't hide that fact. It doesn't mean that he's bad. I'm just saying that that's the right wing, right? More religious. It takes on more of that ideology, and it's okay, right? We need to hear both perspectives, and I guess the capture for the exemptions of the troll, it's about lessons and perspective. If somebody's providing a lesson or a quality, well thought out, well studied, and balanced perspective, that you can't argue with that's not a troll by definition. They're actually trying to add something substantive, something of quality, something tangible to the conversation, a thread we can pull on in the line of thought that'll help us advance society, instead of just using their platform to be trolls and inject more chaos into the situation. And sometimes you could argue that their perspective or their lessons lend to chaos, but there's chaos of like a riot, and there's chaos of like the floor on Wall Street. We could talk about the criminalistic behavior of some financial folks, but there is a positive consequence overall, ultimately, in the stock market, etc. I shouldn't say stock market, in that type of marketplace, in that environment, as opposed to just a riot, which is purely destructive. And you could call it a demonstration, but I would say I haven't heard a riot referred to in history as a success. And that's the long and short of it. I understand how that might be a form of protest for some people, and I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. But anyway, so you have a riot versus the floor on Wall Street, and which one is actually contributing to society. So it's about lessons and perspective. Somebody providing a lesson or perspective, are they doing so in good faith, on good balance? The answer is yes. Then maybe they're not a troll. The other one, those otherwise acting in good faith, sincere. So I talk shit about a lot of religious leaders and religions because they're sometimes so off-putting and hypocritical to me. But however, you do have people in those realms, and it doesn't matter the religion. There's so many of them that operate in good faith. They're trying to be true shepherds of their flocks. They are using their Bible or whatever other holy book they have to instruct their followers on the proper way of leading their life. And they do so in a manner that isn't destructive, isn't crossing boundaries and hurting other people, is open to the idea that there are multiple types of people on this planet, and we just have to be willing to embrace and accept that our brothers and sisters are very unique, all in their individual way. But collectively, we work better together, so we will still lead the flock, and we'll invite everybody. And, our heaven is available to everybody. It avails itself to the most evil, and it avails itself to the most righteous. And that's truth. That's the truth. I don't know a place where anybody's exempt from God's love or the universe's love, even, dare I say it, the evil people. But maybe there's certain, I don't want to call it hell, but maybe there's a certain punishment at the end of this life for people who ultimately operate in bad faith and hurt enough people in their lifetime on this planet in the mortal sense, that when we enter the spiritual realm, there's something else over there for you that isn't good. It seems to make sense somehow in my head that that's the way it works. But I think if you're acting in good faith, with even the preacher, they can act in good faith. They're not being a troll. You have other people who preach the prosperity gospel, fucking trolls. I don't care. I don't care. Pick a church. They're not. They don't escape the realm of the troll because their primary purpose is to siphon money, not spread the gospel, which is supposedly their primary purpose. So, again, false prophet, fucking bullshit. So you have exemptions: the comedians, legitimate news sources. What I didn't mention was the jester, like the court jester. It's the only guy that can tell the king that he's full of shit. Often they find themselves killed, but it doesn't matter. In the old days, you had to have somebody to give you that other perspective, right? They're trolling you. Well, if his job as a jester is just to be a troll, then that's what you get. He's serving his capacity as a troll. Sometimes the role of the troll is legitimized in that fashion. However, the jester is trolling the king, but in a productive fashion, because he's telling the king, "Hey, king, if you don't attack, you're weak, and you're a pussy." Well, he's telling the king, it's not to your advantage not to attack in this instance because people will see you as weak, and the perception of weakness might invite armies from other parts of the continent to come and advance and attack. But if you're willing to attack in a time when you think you're vulnerable, but the enemy doesn't know it, just punch him in the face and let the enemy retreat, and send the message to the rest of the continent that you're not to be trifled with. And sometimes, so the court jester delivers a message in a trolling fashion, but it's actually a deliberate attempt to influence the king to change his mind about something, to keep him or her, the queen, from making a strategic or tactical error in that situation. So there's that. So you have the jester, legitimate pundits, and those otherwise acting in good faith, or who are sincere. And we know who those are, and hopefully you have enough intellectual maturity, instinctive maturity to be able to just see who is acting in good faith in your environment and who is not. All right. So now that we've discussed exemptions to the troll rule, and there are other exemptions, it's hard to think about because I wasn't focusing on that. I was actually focusing on the trolls. But you can fill that void with people acting in good faith. Just kind of any role or any character or anybody who's acting in good faith, even if they're a flawed individual or whatever. They're acting in good faith and they come with facts and the truth, etc. Probably not a troll. Next, so we're going to go over more examples of the troll. Again, I fall probably into most of these categories. Assholes. So you got the guy who comes into the office and just lays into everybody he can't help or she can't help to talk shit, and just be a general pain in the ass. While their life is hunky-dory, they ignore the fact that other people are going through different stuff, and they just use everybody's weaknesses and vulnerabilities or characteristics to just stick the knife in. Sometimes there's a place for that, but remember, the troll, we're talking about trolling behavior. Sometimes you got to be an asshole, and that's all there is to it. But I'm talking about the trolling behavior, the unnecessary, just butthole-ish nonsense that you see supervisors or your coworkers or our politicians, put us through. Like right now, our politicians are just being assholes. Like, when is the last time they did any real work? And they will argue, well, we did. Okay, well, why do we have these problems? It seems counterintuitive to me. So you have the asshole. Next, drama people. I can't stand drama people because they come there with, how did I hear it said? They come in there complaining about a situation that they created. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, what about your role in this? All you want to do is stiff arm your responsibility and also continue to create chaos in that situation that you can get yourself out of, solve the problem. Somebody obviously has to take the high road or inject some maturity into that situation, but instead they perpetuate it. They keep the train rolling when in reality, the problem can be solved fairly easily, I guess, from outside looking in. But they perpetuate it. Why? Because they're in love with the drama. We've all had that person, or we've had several people in our lives who are participating in a relationship that is literally no good for them. You've been together 10 years and you guys are always at each other's throats and you're always complaining. You're not happy. You're not satisfied in life in any particular dimension, but you go back because you love them and the children. And it's like, okay, I guess those are noble ideas, but is it healthy for the system overall? Is it healthy for you and them? Is it healthy for your kids? Are you teaching your kids to simply be involved in relationships that are contentious and miserable? Because that's what it is. You're conditioning them. So I don't advocate for people breaking up their families, but sometimes there are instances where relationships dictate that maybe it's better if we gain some separation, or maybe when we got together we got along, but we've grown apart. We're different at 28 from when we were 18. Things like that. Those things happen. But if you're working towards your relationship, hopefully not. However, there's instances where it doesn't work out, and you're coming to the office complaining about that shit all the time. And dude, you don't want to solve your problem? Get the fuck out of here. All you're doing is bringing that drama into the office. Or they'll go and talk about their coworker over here, find out all the information, and then bring that information and tell it to the other coworker over there. And now you got a bunch of fucking drama in the office for no good reason. And the people do that in their families. They do that in almost any environment. Think about our Congress. Drama. It's disgusting. Drama people, they're not problem solvers. They're drama injectors, and that's all they do is bring chaos into our lives. And get the fuck out of here, troll. Mooches. Next on the list is the fucking mooch. I don't have a problem with having a friend that can't afford the same things I can, and me paying his or her way, because sometimes that's the way it works, right? Like, you didn't get the education, blah 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 blah. And it's not about dragging people along. Sometimes that person brings so many qualities to our lives. It's like, fuck, the fact that you're broke doesn't make a difference to me. I need you. Because you're always positive, you're uplifting, regardless of your life situation, you always have a good mood. I've seen you try your ass off and you're just not getting the promotion. You're just not, you've had a hard time, but you're still out there getting after it, trying to live a successful and redeeming and a quality life, and an honest life at that. And either you're happy where you're at, or you just haven't had the opportunity or created the opportunity for yourself to advance. And we're on different levels financially. Okay, let's go, man. Let's go to the movies. I know you ain't got money. Let's hang out. I don't know how many times I was a specialist, even a staff sergeant or sergeant first class. I'll say it out loud. And, because you have a family and you want to, cover all the bases, you want to save money, you want to have an IRA and stuff like that. Even as a sergeant first class, E7 in the Army, you have money, but if you're allocating to all those places, you don't have extra money to go out and do expensive extracurricular stuff, like take your family to Disney World as opposed to Disneyland, even though that's cost prohibitive these days too. But you have a friend, and they've taken me with them. I don't know if I ever had anybody pay for my flight or not. But, things like that. They pay for my hotel room. Little things like that where my friends have come to the rescue. So I'm not talking about friends that you want to bring along. I'm talking about the mooch. And the mooch is the one that hears friends talking about a thing and finds a way to integrate themselves so that they don't have to pay. The mooch has the money. Or the mooch doesn't have the money but isn't contributing anything in order to earn their way. You're not here to be funny. Matter of fact, you're all drama. And now you want me to pay your way so you can hang out? You know what? I love you, but no, you've got to learn. You have to either pay your way if you want to hang out, or the price of the ticket is to behave yourself and not be such a dick to the rest of us. It's not hard. But the mooch doesn't give a fuck about that. They're just looking, it's a pure self-interest. They want to tag along and they want the experience for no, without having to put any skin in the game. And the mooch, again, is frequently they have the money. They just don't want to pay. They want to keep that to themselves so that they can put it in their savings account and their Roth IRA or whatever the fuck they do with it. They just want to hoard it. Why spend my money when I can spend yours? No, you don't get to participate. Again, we don't want to withhold experiences from our buddies. Because when you're a kid, you go to the store, the candy store, and your friend doesn't have a nickel. Well, I guess you can't buy candy for a nickel anymore. Your friend doesn't have $1. If you have two, maybe it's not so bad to share. But if their sole purpose is to tag along for the free candy bar, maybe they're not your friend. So the mooch, highly destructive, fucking troll. Next on the list are delegators. Again, exceptions to every rule. The delegate, as a boss, as a supervisor, as a manager, sometimes you have a lot of shit on your plate. You have administrative duties that don't apply to everybody else. You have to create a schedule. You have to evaluate your employees and try to develop them. So that takes time. If you actually sit down, write it out, help your employee develop a career plan or a plan for the year and what they're going to accomplish in their role for the company or your organization. You have to delegate other tasks. So you have time to go to the meetings and do all the coordination with your other company functional areas, HR and finance, and because you got to advocate for the budget for your IT section, and you have to go to HR and tell them, hey, I need people. You've had positions open and you're advertising and it's not working. So your supervisors, your managers frequently have to delegate. Okay. So let me get to the troll portion of the delegator. And the reason I have to calm down and take a deep breath is because I hate these fuckers. I've been on the receiving end, and we've all been on the receiving end of the delegator. And the delegator delegates everything. Not so that they can go coordinate with HR or improve, help you improve your performance or help you write a career timeline or to mentor you or to coach you or to go gain resources for the section so that you can operate better and you have all the tools you need. They're delegating so that they can go to the barber shop, the beauty shop, take their kids and watch that performance while you're fucking stuck at work with the delegated tasks and you can't go participate in your child's play, etc. I know some people don't tolerate that. They're like, okay, you could delegate that to me, but I'm still going to pop smoke, meaning I'm still going to get out of here at 5 o'clock. I'm out. I hope you have that courage because a delegator is destructive. They'll delegate all their tasks so they can gain all the benefits, the same benefits that you need for yourself. And they're gaining all those benefits on company time, on your time even, while you're stuck doing all the work, their work, right? They're delegating you to go to the meeting. Hey, go to this meeting for me. And so they can go to the gym. Those things come to my mind quickly because those are the situations that I've been in. You're in the Army, you have, they call them non-commissioned, NCOIC, non-commissioned officer in charge, or an OIC officer in charge, right? And they're in charge. The title, it's the moniker. And they'll disappear. And then you'll need something, or something will happen and a decision needs to be made. And if you're not delegated the authority to make a decision, then you're stuck and you have to stop. And guess what? The delegator don't care about that. When he comes back, all they're gonna, or she is gonna ask, why did this project stop? Well, we needed these particular things and you weren't here to help us coordinate those things. And because we're not part of the planning process, you are, we didn't know who to talk to. Oh, no problem. Let me go fix that for you. Oh, mind you, it's 3:30 and we still have 4 hours worth of work left. In the Army, you don't stop just because it's 5 o'clock. You stop when the task is accomplished. And so now my fucking leader had just set me up for fucking overtime. What in the army? There's no such thing as overtime. You're just working. You're a salaried employee, and it's like, okay, but now I can't pick up my kids from school. I can't sit down with my family for dinner, because I mean that's how I ran my household when I was married. We sat down and tea to the family. That was an important part of my day. And every time I missed out on one of those fucking things, it hurt a little bit. Why? Because I knew I was going to be leaving for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 45 days, 6 months, a year at a time. And the fucking shitty ass leader left so they can go to the gym, came back at the late in the afternoon while all the work was on pause. And then they said, hey, Finn, here's all the tools you need. I'd done my job. I'd done good. And then they're at home eating dinner with their family while we're there in the motor pool, wherever the fuck we were, taking care of all the business. And that's shit. That's a shitty leader. That's a shitty manager. And I ain't afraid of, I can't stand those motherfuckers. But because they're a pure delegator, there's some different leadership philosophies, right? But in my mind, again, I'll just use the old army philosophy that I was taught, and that's as a leader you could do it three ways. There's the authoritative leader, where that's the guy that's there, get the fucking shit done and hurry the fuck up, and I ain't making no apologies for why I do it this way. I just want it done, etc. You have the delegator, the one that knows how to delegate, who needs to do what, is in charge of the timeline. Can get it done in that way, right? Maybe they don't have the skills, they don't have the competence, or they have to invest that time coordinating with management. And then you have the combined, right? It's called the participative. So not only do they delegate, and not only are they authoritative, but they're also there to participate in the task to ensure its success. There's a time for those two other areas. There's a time to delegate and walk away because there's other things to do to help your people do their job better or well. And there's a time to be authoritative because there's no time. And as much as I want to explain it to my people why we have to do a thing, we have other things to do. And you know what? We can talk about the minutia later. But let's get this done right now, because if you want to go home at 5 o'clock, you just shut the fuck up and get to work. So there's a time for all those things. I think most of the time, the best technique is the participative. And that's because not only are you present to mitigate any issues that your people might have, but you're getting to know the situations that your employees have to deal with. What challenges do you face on the daily basis that I can't see from my vantage point, because I'm always running around to meetings, coordinating resources, evaluating performance, or other stuff related to management? Well, you could do it that way. I don't know. I just feel that all those roles can be filled if they're being operated in good faith, because you have those leaders who are purely authoritative. They're not going to do it different. They're just going to tell you what to do and give a fuck. And hopefully they're competent. If they're highly competent, it's not a problem, because they've thought all that shit out and they're just having you execute on their thought process. You have the delegator, and hopefully if they're operating in good faith, you're able to keep working and doing your fucking job. When a problem arises, before you know it, they've showed up because they've had that forethought. They delegated because they foresaw some of the issues, and they were out there hustling for you so that you could get a delivery of the supplies in time, or the tool that you're going to need later on in the afternoon to get that shit done, or to let management know, hey, you gave us fucking 1,000 fucking pallets to disassemble, but you only gave us an hour. What fucking planet do you live on, right? You have brave leaders that will go advocate for you for more time to do stuff. If management is simply just blind, right, to what the reality is on the ground, because sometimes the strategic piece is disconnected from the tactical piece, and you have those leaders that make those coordinations while they're delegating. It's beautiful if you can get a person that does it in good faith. But if you have the delegator, the boss, the leader that gives you shit to do so that they could walk away and take care of their personal ambitions and their personal shit, while we're over here literally doing your job for you, fuck you. I think anytime you encounter that scenario, anytime I encounter that scenario, I think the delegator understands quickly with me that they're not going to delegate anything to me. Nothing. Nothing. You're going to have to go talk to the boss. Why? Because if you go talk to the boss, now you have to tell on yourself that you left all this shit for us so you can go take care of your personal shit. So I have no tolerance for the delegator. Fucking troll. All right, and the last one, managers. So again, same type of scenario with the delegators. Those are related, although I think they're different. The delegator tends maybe to have more authority. The manager, however, is kind of low level, low tier, a little bit below supervisor. Don't get insulted if I'm getting that wrong. And if you're in your organization, the manager is a higher level, just transpose the things for me. Work that little bit of magic in your mind. But I'm talking about the guy that's embedded with the people who are working. And actually the tactical leader who's taking care of problems in real time. I don't have a problem with the hardworking manager. They understand what their employees are going through. They're sweating the same sweat, shedding the same tears. Typically, you'll see that. But there are the managers who are there and they simply use their authority to make their people's lives miserable. The manager, sometimes they're stuck in that management role because they're not any more capable than that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're there and because you're miserable, you're making other people's life miserable, it's a fucking problem. You're a troll. And I empathize with the manager a lot because, you know, the manager, I think, is a sort of transitionary position where you get a young leader who's maturing into a place. So maybe there's a lot of ignorance on the way up, and the first stop as a manager is really hard and confusing because, you know, now you're having to learn to interface with people and tell them what to do and try to influence them to do the right thing, enforce policy. Again, you're on the tactical edge of whatever service or job or product you're developing, and you're pushing the people, you're pushing their buttons to get the thing, whatever the thing is, done. Or you'll get older people, who have finally decided to step up. And even though they know the process, they've been there forever. Well, the problem is sometimes they've been there forever and they have their way of doing things. And this is the right way, even though if the new employee comes in, reads the new employee handbook, there's a policy and enforcement mismatch between the managers. I don't think that's a troll level yet. Though I think, you know, even people like that are operating in good faith. But what I'm talking about, the manager who is in charge of the schedule maybe, and who tends to put his favorites in the most desirable schedule positions, even though they're probably the worst fucking employees on the line. Those are the managers I'm talking about. The ones that aren't operating in good faith, who are using their position to manipulate the system, to get their buddy employed, or not just employed, but promoted ahead of more worthy candidates who've been there to shed blood on behalf of the company or whatever. The manager can be highly destructive. I don't really like them because I don't dislike them as much as the delegator. The delegator is higher on the food chain, so I dislike their behavior more. But the manager is in that position where they're gonna set the tone for the rest of the team. They're on the tactical edge. They affect the most people in my organization typically because they're embedded with the worker bees. They're right there, and they're influencing. They're gathering information. They're reporting it back up to higher level supervisors, so the supervisors can do hopefully good things with the information or the feedback. And if you have a manager in the middle who's being a bitch, then it's no good for the employee. And what I mean by a bitch, male or female. I'm not talking about females. I'm talking about some of my buddies, my guy friends, my peers, my brothers, the ones that I love, are using their position for pure manipulative practices and pure self-enrichment. And that just goes against the grain of any common sense, decorum. Really what helps to define us as men and operating in a what's the right word? In a capacity of integrity. I think, in my opinion, as a man, Integrity should be one of our watchwords. Are we operating with integrity? Are we taking care of the people that we're supposed to take care of? Because traditionally we're the leaders of our tribe. And I think, again, with that leadership position comes a lot of responsibility, because you're bestowed the power by the tribe to lead them right. And so if you're in any position of management, if you're a manager, a supervisor, or whatever your role in that chain, if you act like a troll, if you're being selfish in that position, you're actually doing harm to your tribe. You're doing harm to the team. You're not just down, but also up the chain. So you're affecting the overall performance of your organization by being a dick to your tactical level employees, and that's just wrong. It may not be a strategic error, because you could say, fuck them, we can just get new worker bees. But those worker bees go somewhere else. And as you can see right now in society, people are done taking abuse. I think largely you have what they call quiet quitting, etc. And so we're in this real strange place, in my opinion, about employment. I think, and this is why it's strange to me, we've stopped believing that we can get results through hard work. Hard work is part of the equation. There's no, I don't think there's any way around doing the hard work in order to get something really rewarding in life. I think I'm learning that. And so, but you have this other dimension where people are putting in their hours, they're putting in overtime, they're breaking their back, but the pricing of housing keeps going up, the price of food keeps going up, the price of gas keeps going up, any type of energy, the price keeps going up, the price to go to the movies, the price of every single thing keeps going up, but their level of output continues to go up. Matter of fact, also the quality of their output keeps going up, and they get no compensation for it. Why would I try? Right? Like, okay. So we're in a strange place when it comes to that. And so the manager, in my opinion, might be one of the most influential pieces on the chessboard when it comes to getting things done and managing this life. Because they're in a position to advocate up the chain for those changes. Of course, you need a quality organizational culture that can facilitate that type of change and say, oh shit, we didn't know, here's a 10% increase because inflation's gone up 8%. We'll give you the opportunity to catch up. We'll reduce the compensation of our CEO from 48 million. We'll just give him $1 million this year. He'll be all right. Yeah. Anyway, the managers, don't be a fucking manager troll, man, please. If you're a manager and you're learning the ropes, or you got, kicked down to a manager position because you fucked up further upstream, get your stuff right and keep trying and restart the climb. And if you're on your way up, if you're at the point of ascension, learn how to lead, not just manage. A leader influences people. He takes care of them. She too, right? They uplift their people. They don't kick them while they're down. They don't pour fuel on the fire. They don't pour salt on the wound. They're there to learn how to take care of people. And if you're not operating in good faith, if you're not operating in earnest, if you're not laying down the law where it needs to be laid because you're afraid, there's that other type of manager who's afraid to enforce the rules because he or she's afraid of what others might think. Fuck them. Let them think what they will. As long as you're operating in good faith and know right from wrong within the boundaries of the law and your organizational culture, you're going to be okay. Make the decision. Being a leader is hard. Being a leader is sometimes painful. That's the name of the game. Leadership is to endure on behalf of your people those problems that you might have to face, or those lessons that you might have to learn in order to become more effective. So I guess the takeaway there is, if you're not trying to be a troll, you are going to be okay. And you are going to be a good leader, and you're going to be an asset, not just to the organization, but more so to the people that you're serving, the people that you're leading. So don't be a fucking troll as a manager. All right. We're going to switch gears now. So we talked about some examples of the trolls. And I apologize for being so hostile. I think it bled into my presentation yesterday as well. It didn't cause me to think as well. It didn't cause my conversation to flow as good as I would have liked. And those are some of the things, obviously, I'm trying to improve on as I make a presentation of these ideas. I think taking some of the emotion out of it and getting that stillness is going to help me not just present better, but also encourage you to not be such a troll. It'll quiet my mind so the delivery of the message is better and you can receive it, so that you can modify your life and your behavior so that you're not a troll. Remember, we're not eliminating troll behavior from our lives for the simple sake of it, although there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's noble, just to do it for the sake of doing it. But in doing so, you will eliminate those negative pieces, those negative aspects of your personality from your mind, because you're no longer going to be behaving in that way. And so what does that do? It allows you to gain that time back. That time that belongs to your mind, that is used for the formulaic thinking of trolling, is now available for all the good things that you want to do. Your good intentions, all your goals, all your dreams, all your ambitions will now regain those mental clock cycles to better think about solutions to improve your situation or achieve your goals, whatever those may be, while also reducing external harm, reducing harm to your community, reducing harm to your coworkers, reducing harm to your family, to all the people around you will benefit from you reducing your trolling behavior. And the biggest recipient of the benefit is you, because now you've turned into a kind of a lightning rod for positive vibes. The people will want to be around you more because you're not lashing out, because you're not being an asshole, because you're not being a drama queen or king, because you're not being a mooch and trying to siphon shit off of everybody, because you're not delegating all your tasks so that you could fucking do all the selfish bullshit you want to do while everybody else is sweating in the sun. And people will want to follow you because you're not being a shitty manager. They will want to listen to you and help you get the job done, whatever the fuck it is we got to do. Let's just do it. So you're the biggest beneficiary of stopping the trolling behavior. So what I came up with was, what are some, not just roles, but characteristics of the troll? And this is where I started my episode with. We are trying to identify the troll characteristics in ourselves. I was trying to identify, I made this list to identify the troll characteristics that I demonstrate. And I found that what happened is the list became a reflection of who I am and my faults and the roles I play as a troll in other people's lives. And I'm laughing because, I'm coping. I don't feel good about that. But, I guess I could cry or I could laugh. And right now I'm choosing to laugh, but also internalize all those negative things that I've done and change them. And that's what this little talk has helped me with. I'm learning on the fly as I go. Even though at the moment, and hopefully, we can start a conversation with people, but at the moment, nobody's listening. The fact that I'm addressing the troll behavior with myself is already beginning to improve my life. It's already beginning to improve my behavior. Mostly it's improving the way I feel about myself. Who fucking knew, right? And so I encourage you to list the places in your life where you have shortcomings. It doesn't have to be a troll list. That just happens to be a happy accident that I came up with that is suiting me. But I think I don't think it's a bad way to outline, the role we play in our lives and the ways that we behave that affect other people negatively, because we're just not aware. So here are some of the characteristics. Selfishness. They're two-faced, right? Talk about the drama people. Selfish, the delegators, the managers, and the mooches, the assholes. Unhealthy. Assholes are unhealthy. And what I mean, okay, let me finish. And they're contagious. So, the troll is selfish. They're in it for pure self-interest. And you can outline each one of the examples I stated today and assign all these characteristics to almost all of them. The asshole is selfish. They don't care about anybody else's feelings, which is wrong. They're two-faced, right? They'll say one thing to one person and another just to stir the pot because they're an asshole and they enjoy that type of chaos. It's not the same as a drama person. The drama person has a different motivation. They want to be the center of attention in that chaos. The asshole just wants to instigate. Assholes are unhealthy. They're really unhealthy. There's a part of their personality that prevents that doesn't leave them satisfied with just leaving people alone. They have to go out and fuck with people because it brings them pleasure. You got a problem. You need to address some things with yourself. You're using that to stay entertained because there's something wrong inside that you can't handle and you can't think about for very long because it'll destroy you. It'll cause more depression. You enjoy, you're a masochist because you got a fucking problem. I'm telling you, go get some help. And assholes, I don't know if they're so much contagious. Maybe that doesn't apply as much. I can't think of a way, but anyway, let's move on. I'm sure they're fucking contagious somehow. Drama people, are they selfish? Of course. Are they two-faced? Absolutely. Are they unhealthy? Of course. And are they contagious? Drama people, yeah, they're contagious. Those people will loop you into the drama, and sometimes you're participating without even knowing it. You'll be one of the participants in their soap opera that they establish in their lives, and without knowing it, you're participating, and that's because they duped you into being part of the equation because they're playing on your emotional sympathies to help to align you with them and their point of view, so they can go fight this other person about nothing, nonsense, immature stuff. So they're highly whether we like it or not, and whether we're wittingly participants in their chaos, it's contagious as fuck. Mooches, is that contagious? Not so much. I think most of us don't like somebody putting their hand in our pocket, especially without contributing anything of worth to our lives, whether it be abstract or whether it be tangible. Fucking mooches are selfish. They're not contagious. Two-faced, maybe. They might be playing the system to get what they want. And are they unhealthy? Probably. I don't know. Don't know what motivates anybody to be a mooch because I really can't identify. So I don't have any feedback there. I suppose they're unhealthy. Maybe there's something wrong with them. Delegators. Delegators are selfish. They're delegating so that they gain time for themselves, for their own personal self-interest. They're two-faced. Are they two-faced? Yeah. They'll lie to you to get you to do something so they can go fucking do something else. Not always. Sometimes they're just bold assholes who delegate their tasks to you and laugh in your face while they go fucking take care of errands. Are they unhealthy? Yeah, I think so. They're unempathetic. They don't care about what you or I need. All they care is about them. They don't care that I'm gonna miss out with the meal with my family, and I'm about to leave them for a year at a time. That's pretty fucking shitty. So the delegator is certainly unhealthy. They lack empathy. They're kind of like a psychopath, but they know better. They're not a psychopath. They're just a fucking asshole. And managers. Oh, I'm sorry. Delegators. Are they contagious? Yeah. I think delegators are really detrimental because if you have subordinates who are coming up who are they're easily identifiable, right? Which ones are going to be the ones that are going to step up and take our place if we get the opportunity to move up the ladder? We are trying to identify supervisors and managers and leaders who in our organization has the potential or has the skills to move up and keep and improve this organization, keep this organization going and also improve it, get the job done, get it done to a high standard, bring new ideas, make things more efficient, etc., etc. I could keep going, right? But we're always on the lookout for that talent. And you know, the delegator could find that person and teach them how to be a delegator. You don't have to care about that. You don't have to care about their time. You're in charge now. You know, you got things you want to do, and sometimes that ear honey is too addicting to the employee, to the lower level employee to ignore, because now all those events that I missed out on while that boss was the delegator, oh, he's giving me, this is the reward I get for tolerating all that abuse. Now I'm going to be the one in charge. Now I can be the one to attend my children's plays or sports games or soccer tournament or whatever, because now I can just leave the rest of the team to work. Again, yeah, the delegator is highly contagious. They can poison your organization for a long time, because how long did it take to unseat a delegator from that type of position? Remember, you have to have a significant position in the organization in order to be a delegator, because if you're a manager delegator, everybody's just going to tell you to fuck off. That's the bottom line. But if you're a supervisor and you have multiple managers and you're a delegator up here, and you give one of those managers the opportunity to rise, it's very influential. And now you could potentially put delegators in the supervisory role, and then the 3 manager positions, and now you have an absence of leadership when anything significant is going on, because all the tasks have been delegated to the lower end, the tactical edge employee. And when that happens, who's in charge? And there can be nothing but chaos from that. And so the job is still going to get done, because what happens? The delegator shows up. Oh, we still haven't gotten done. No problem. Well, let's approve overtime. Sorry, you're going to miss out on all your activities that you had planned, because we're still going to get this job done. And in reality, it's a leadership failure. It's not a failure of the tactical edge employee. I think that's a cop-out. People will posit it that way. Anyway, these people are really unhealthy. The delegator and the manager. Anyway, we're still on the manager. So it is unhealthy, and it's contagious. You could, it's fucking bad. No, don't be a troll. All right, now let's talk about the managers. Managers can operate in a selfish way. We already identified where they could manipulate the schedule to better suit them and their buddies on the team. Are they two-faced? Well, if they play favorites, right? Are they unhealthy? I think managers are not so much unhealthy as they are misguided. I think the supervisor has a responsibility to identify the manager who is just out of sync with the team, and either give them guidance, develop them, move them maybe to a team that better suits their skill set and personality, or just understand that they're not a good manager and they're not ready for that position yet, and punt them back down to the tactical edge so that they can learn some more. They can learn what their teammates need. They can learn what their co-workers go through, so that when they hopefully get the opportunity again to become a manager, earn the opportunity again to become a manager, that they'll do a better job and not be as selfish. And maybe there were just some maturity issues. But if that's not the case, if you're just a manager that's there for selfish reasons, and you're going to manipulate the whole system to take advantage for yourself, it's just, man, what's wrong with you? You just abandon all the experience that you had in favor of selfishness and chaos. You're a troll. It's fucked up. And is it contagious? Managers. So since managers, there's tend to be, in my opinion, more of them, because since they're so close to the tactical edge with the tactical edge employee, and they're really embedded with the employee, or the lower end employee. I don't have another way to say it, I guess. They can spread their philosophy kind of far, right? Because as managers get together, sometimes teams merge to accomplish projects. Those managers, if both of them are in sync and they're both kind of shitty, and they're both kind of influencing their teams to be kind of shitty, then you're inculcating that culture of leadership from the top, from the bottom up. I don't know if that makes sense, but The manager is teaching all these lower end employees, the tactical edge employees, that this is what management is like, and this is what you get to do when you're here. Because, you know, those employees they're usually new or young or inexperienced. The ones on the tactical edge aren't the 30 and 40-year-olds. They're the 20 to 30-year-olds. And they're highly influenced. You can shape and mold them. And what are you going to do? Shape and mold them to manipulate the schedule for their own personal benefit, to manipulate the team dynamic so that you have favorites and you know, you can get things out of the team as opposed to you contributing to the mission or the whatever the fuck product or service we're providing. You're just wrong. And so a poor manager, because they have such a far reach, they have access to all the people and other managers. It's very contagious. It's poison to your organization. So if you're one of those leaders, or you can identify the managers that are like that, you know, put a stop to it. Have a conversation. Say, hey man, you know, there's some level of fairness and that the employee is looking for from you. There's a level of leadership that they need from you. Do you want to step up? And that's an easy enough question, but it's a harder conversation. I challenge you to either have that conversation with yourself, or if you identify the behavior in your managers, to grab them by the collar and say, what's up, man? Because we got stuff to do, and your people, you got to take care of them. You don't have to adopt that mindset, but again, the analogy I continue to use is that of our tribal system. If you're a leader in any capacity, you have some power bestowed upon you by your tribe, your organization, your organizational culture. And like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. You have a responsibility now. You have a responsibility to be the example and set the example. And what do you want that example to be? You don't have to care, but I am advocating for you to care, to not be a troll when you reach those positions of authority where you get the opportunity to not just manage, but set policy, set the direction of your team. It's a beautiful thing if you can take care of it, and if you work in the right organizations, it's a fucking dance that you'll never forget. And I mean, those are some of the lessons I took from being in the Army so long. Is if you get an organization where everybody is operating in good faith, from the squad leader to the platoon sergeant, team leader, squad leader, platoon sergeant, the first sergeant, the fucking company commander, and then of course, you know, punt it up the chain to the battalion and the brigade and the if I've seen it, I've seen it, and when it's orchestrated that way, no, it's not perfect, but I just enjoy that environment so much. When people were operating in good faith, it didn't matter how hard the mission was. It didn't matter how much I was sweating. It didn't matter if I thought I was going to die. None of that mattered. What mattered was that everybody I was there with was operating in good faith and trying to influence everything we're doing in a positive trajectory, in a positive manner. You could argue about the mission and the people that were affected by the mission, who the enemy was in reality, but well, that's it. I mean, we were at war, so like that was our job to assist in the mission to the best of our capacity and in our role, and we did that. And anytime there was a troll involved, somebody who was trying to go against the grain, not because they were right, because you need brave leaders who will push back on dumb ideas, but the people who were just pushing back because they don't want to do it, because they're lazy, because they wanted to delegate and they couldn't, and they wanted to escape, or they were trying to delegate and putting their people in bad situations, put a stop to all that shit. And the system just worked way better for the aggregate, for the overall. And I think that's why I'm advocating here for society, people, you and me, or my brothers and sisters, to stop trolling each other, to stop the trolling behavior, because the system just works a lot better. And I think we do need to come together. It's kind of a scary time, in my opinion, globally, including in the United States. And maybe it's just the fear of the unknown. We're learning to operate in a different with different rules, in different capacities, different ideas. I don't want to talk politically today, but I mean, those are the things that come to mind. And it's a little bit disconcerting. However, what I have noticed is that my brothers and sisters are still willing to work together to a degree. We have our extreme portions of society, people label it the left and the right. But I think most of us have not subscribed to any of that insanity. But I think what is going to assist in eliminating some of the chaos and allow us to get back together and communicate better, and also in that vein collapse the extremes a little bit closer together so that we can influence them to maybe come back to reality a little bit more, is to eliminate some of the trolling we do to each other. You can use the online analogy where you're in the comment section just harassing people and spreading your uninformed opinion, or telling the truth in a place where you know that's just going to invite nothing but discontent. Don't do it. Just don't comment. Just don't. Just stop. Don't hit the like button. Just stop. Where do I end this? So let's end on some of the characteristics of the troll and the reflection. I think when you free your mind from that thought process that causes you to want to, stick your nose in there and be nosy and give people your opinion because you think you're right or you're right. I don't know if there's anything wrong with that. Remember, all this stuff has to not just be presented in good faith. It can't just be good faith intent, but the recipient also has to understand you to a degree. They have to understand that you are operating in good faith and you're not their enemy or opponent. Sometimes that's harder to do because you can't get inside people's heads to say, hey man, I'm not your enemy, I'm your friend. Even though I'm saying things that you don't agree with or to the contrary of what you believe, I'm not saying any of these things to hurt you. That's hard to do. So what do we do? How can we stop being trolls in each other's lives? What are some easy ways to do that? How do we operate or behave opposite the troll? And one of the ways I think I've come up with is, I think we need to focus on things that are hard again. We need to encourage our brothers and sisters when they're going through a difficult time to stick with it, and to encourage them to embrace the hardships. And what do I say? What do I mean? So anything quality or great or grand you want to do in life is probably not easy. I was listening to some stuff today. I forgot. I don't know. It's a combination of a couple of videos that I saw. But anyway, the idea is we're so accustomed to instant gratification. You can go to the store and get yourself the ice cream cone you crave. You can go to the store and get yourself a soda, that instant sugar rush, right? That we become addicted literally to those sugar products because it satiates us. It does something good for our brain. Well, the perception of something good to our brain. Online, we get instant gratification. Oh, I want this thing. I want that thing. Boop, boop. You hit a couple of icons on your phone and it's in your cart and at your door the next day. Success and goals don't work that way. True success and true goals probably take a long time to accomplish. And the fact that our young people have forgotten that idea is our fault. The old fucks like me who don't encourage them to stick with really hard stuff because it's so healthy for them. As soon as we inject pain into the concept of struggle, it becomes a bad thing, and that's not true. That pain, I think who preaches that shit? David Goggins. That pain is going to callous, the way he said is callous your mind. You're going to develop those mental calluses that are accustomed to that exposure to pain, and actually become resilient to the pain allows you to continue to endure it. It's not that we've stopped going through it. It's that we continue to go through it, but now it doesn't affect us as much because we developed some strength. We developed some mental, quote unquote, mental calluses, things like that. And why focus on the struggle and the things that are hard? I view it in my mind, if I had to paint a picture, it's a mountain. This analogy isn't old. Everybody knows this shit, I think, or generally knows this stuff. The upward angle is the hard part, right? It takes struggle to get to the top, but the easy part, right? It's gravity's gonna take care of the rest. So when you stumble, just understand that that's gravity, that's life. And I don't just mean literally, figuratively. When you stumble in life and you fall down, you don't have to lend it any energy. It's just gonna happen. I keep hearing this idea, and I can't get it out of my head, that life is a wave. It's a frequency, and you have a top part and a bottom part. And in order to communicate, whether it's a light spectrum or radio frequency, it goes in that wave. It performs its action in that undulation. It has a positive charge and a negative charge. It needs that to traverse the atmosphere. Whatever medium it's using, whatever technology it's using, and that's beyond my level of understanding, but it travels in that. That's how we've decided to frame it, and I think it's accurate. In our lives, we're in this frequency. Our lives are acting out a frequency as we go on through time. And there is no doubt about that. It's going to go down, and you're going to come up, and you're going to go down. So anyway, you get the picture. But do we need to lend energy to the downward cycle? Maybe we need to pay attention when we're having bad times, and so that we can see, well, what caused that? What lessons can I extract from it? How can I endure that a little bit more? How can I be more resilient to those life events on the downward side of our struggle? I think the strength comes from the upward side of the struggle. As we start to ascend and encounter challenges and not quit when it gets hard, and are willing to suffer through the blood, sweat, and tears of accomplishment, when we have a downward spiral or are facing a downward trajectory or have a setback, all the blood, sweat, and tears we've shed is going to inform the blood, sweat, and tears that avail themselves, naturally they will, on the downside of that frequency, if you want to look at it that way. So I challenge you, when people are embracing a challenge, when they're challenging not just their mind or their heart, but their spirit, our spiritual challenges, we should encourage one another. As long as our brothers and sisters are acting in good faith and they're not hurting themselves or anybody else, and we don't, if we're gonna, inform them, it better be good advice. We better not just be fucking with them. And if we're gonna offer advice, it better be well-informed advice. We all have. I'm sure I'm spewing bullshit on occasion here, maybe mostly, who knows? But that's not what I'm attempting to do. I don't think it's a bad idea to stop trolling each other. I don't think I'm wrong in the idea that if we stop doing that, this world will be a better place. Some people will call that idea utopian, but I think that's an excuse people use to continue their trolling behavior. I fucking challenge that. I'll fucking put my money on that this world will be a better place if we simply checked ourselves and eliminated some of the trolling behavior that manifests itself. Because the human beings are kind of a dark speed. We have a dark component to ourselves, and all the things that are being signaled to us right now in mass media and on social media are invoking that darkness. The politics are such a good example, because it's true. They're using all the marketing ploys to invoke the worst of us. They're teaching us how we should hate and dislike the other side. We're not outlining our similarities and then deconstructing it to see where the rest of the work needs to be done in order to better develop our society. They're just ramming us against each other, and I just don't see how that's a formula for success. Matter of fact, it seems very much like the divide and conquer concept that the conspiracy theories continue to preach, and it's caused me to think that maybe they weren't conspiracies, or not, or that they're not conspiracies. And anyway, you can come to your own conclusions on that stuff. But I encourage us to support each other in the hard endeavors, to support each other in the difficult, to support each other in new lines of thinking, because people will stumble and they will fall. It's easy to fucking kick a man when he's down. It's cowardly, but it's easy to do that. How about we help our brothers and sisters learn from their mistakes, because they're gonna fucking be learning from their own mistakes on their own. Trust me. Hopefully they are. Hopefully you're ingesting all the lessons you learn as you have your setbacks. You're taking notes, and hopefully your brothers and sisters aren't kicking you while you're down. Maybe they won't lend you a hand up. Maybe that's your own job. Maybe that's your responsibility. Maybe you want to endure by yourself. I think that's where the money's at. But anyway, maybe you want to endure on your own, and there's nothing wrong with that, I think. But as a on the outside looking in, to somebody participating in the struggle to either get their life right or to accomplish something grand, like make the Olympic team or go to the NFL or invent a new type of math, we should encourage them. Of course, we don't want to lead them wrong. This life is complicated, dude. Like, this shit is like blows my mind. But I think we have that capacity built into us. I think God, literally God, the universe, has endowed us with a universe of knowledge in our head. And we just have to find ways to open that stuff up. You've heard the stories about people bumping themselves or hurting their head, and all of a sudden they're some sort of mathematics savant. And it's like, well, obviously it means that the information was there somewhere. It happens with music, right? People bump their head or have a head injury, and now they're a master pianist, and they never played the piano in their life. What does that inform me of? That the information is in here somewhere. How do I get to it on my own? And maybe I don't get to it on my own. Maybe I need your help. And in order to do that, we need to stop being trolls of each other. And in order to do that, I also have to stop participating in trolling, so that those mental cycles collectively avail themselves to something better, something benevolent, as opposed to malevolent.